This sounds far off, May 1st, but it's this Sunday.
It does,
oh my gosh.
yeah.
Wow. Next on the show, we welcome back the chair of the science department at Jackson College, Dr. Matthew Badtke. Welcome back.
Good morning.
So the college, in their next phase of return to normal,
Right.
no more mandatory masks, and the main entrance reopened, full capacity. Does it feel different now?
It does. It was interesting on Monday. I felt like for the first time I actually saw my students' faces in class.
Yeah.
It was a weird feeling, because the entire semester so far we've all been wearing masks every day. So it did feel a little bit different, a little bit more back to normal, which is nice.
Did you immediately notice a difference in participation with the masks off? Just curious.
I mean, I think that we will see that
Yeah.
a little bit more over time. I didn't notice anything, but they're busy getting ready for their finals, so.
Was your first impression that you have a good-looking class or not a good-looking class?
I think I better avoid anything.
Better not even answer that. So today's the last day of the semester at Jackson College. How'd the year go for you?
It's been a very busy one.
Yeah.
So I've been commuting to 2 different campuses 4 days a week. So as compared to last fall when I was 100% remote and working from home mostly, it's been quite a big change. So
Yeah.
looking forward to not driving for a few days.
On Tuesday, Dr. Anthony Fauci declared that the U.S. is out of the pandemic phase.
I think he walked it back, didn't he? Did he walk it back?
He walked it back. He walked it back. And poor Dr. Fauci, I think he says something based on what is available to him at the time, and then more information comes in and he has to change his tune. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something that we all need to keep in mind is that, people are trying to make the best predictions and things that they can, but this pandemic has shown us that a lot of times we like to think we can predict what is going to happen, but that's not actually the case, right? I mean, so many times people have said, well, this is for sure what's going to happen now, and then that hasn't happened, right?
Yeah.
And so we need to stop thinking really that we can predict everything. I mean, there are some aspects of how this virus is spread and things that we really don't have a good handle on. And I think it's okay to recognize that, and that, again, like you said, he's trying to make the best thoughts and predictions that he can with what he has in front of him right then, but that doesn't mean that isn't going to change down the road.
And you said poor doctor, he's rich.
Well,
I know what you meant. Yeah.
He gets beat up.
Well, he
people
gets
attack
paid. He
him.
gets paid for it. Well, to your point, look what's going on in China. Massive lockdowns in Shanghai. 25 million people either have to stay in their homes or neighborhood. Beijing's under it. What is going on in China?
Right. So China is taking a very different approach than the rest of the world. In most other places, including the U.S., the approach is to recognize that there are going to be cases, it is going to be spread. And so as everyone has seen, right, we encourage vaccination and we encourage masking and those sorts of things. In China, they are basically working under a zero COVID policy, which is their goal is to basically have no cases. And so anytime there is a chance that there might be even a few cases starting to pop up, that's when you see the massive lockdowns that they put everybody under. It's because their approach is that we're going to stop this before it even gets started. And we're going to basically try to ensure that we have no cases throughout the entire country. And so that's why they'll go and they'll test 10 million people. And I mean, just the scale of things is absolutely massive what they're doing, but that's why they're doing it. It's the approach is very different. And it has some pluses and minuses. They've had very few, almost basically no deaths from COVID. On the other hand, there are huge implications when you do things like shut down an entire city, right? And so we've seen the implications of what can be affected from an economic standpoint, right? I mean, with shortages for things for cars or whatever, and then huge factories are shutting down. That's further changing the supply chain, and so It's good in that the sense that you can keep cases down and keep deaths down, but I think a lot of people in the rest of the world have said, that's maybe not the approach we're going to take because of the other impacts that it has.
Mm-hmm.
The Moderna vaccine could soon be available to kids under the age of 6. That's a long time coming.
Yeah, and then that was just this morning they announced Moderna is, it sounds like basically they are going to be taking all the data for kids under 18, and they are hoping that the FDA in one fell swoop is going to approve all the kids under 18 together. Mm-hmm. So different than what has happened with Pfizer, where they've sort of taken it one group at a time and said, okay, first we're going to take the oldest kids and we'll slowly step it down. It sounds like Moderna is basically going to say, here's all of our data for all the groups under 18, approve all of them at once. And so that's why it's taking a little bit longer, it seems. It sounds like June would probably be the earliest. So I think we're getting there, but my son turns 5 in a couple weeks, so it's like, well, okay, finally we get this approved, but not going to matter for us. But I think there are a lot of people with younger kids that would really like to have the opportunity, and I think that's really a place that a lot of people feel like the FDA really probably should have been a little bit quicker in approving these things.
As a public health expert, I guess the course that we've chosen as a country is to live with. Is this the natural evolution of a pandemic, and is this the right strategy?
I think it is. I think I saw earlier this week there was some data from the CDC that they're estimating about half of people in the U.S. have been infected, about 75% of kids probably. So again, it is sort of going, I think, again, for as much as people have gotten things wrong, I think one thing that people have been accurate about is that we would see this sort of reduction in severity of disease as you get more and more people that have immunity built up from vaccination or previous infection. At this point, when you combine those two numbers together, you're getting a very high percentage of the country that's either been infected with one or the other variants that's gone around, or has been vaccinated, or both in many cases. So I think you're getting enough people that, as much as the virus is going to keep evolving and changing over time, you're just not going to get the same sort of impacts that we saw in the first year, right? So we have an odd thing going on right now in that cases are going up, but yet deaths are going down. And usually those things go together, right? We see cases go up and then hospitalizations creep up after that, and that's just not happening now. We're not seeing that. People were predicting that was what was going to happen a couple months ago. I remember reading a lot about, well, look out, this is in Europe, it's going to be coming over here, we're going to see hospitalizations go back up, and it just hasn't happened.
Which is great news.
Which is good.
The last 2 years, we said, oh, here comes summer, goodbye virus. Here comes summer.
Yeah, I do think it has an impact. I mean, we've seen that. I think it's going to be less of an impact, though, because of course, we already are working under pretty low case numbers in general. It's not like last spring where we had that big surge, especially in Michigan in April. And then that was very bizarre. I mean, that pretty much was huge in Michigan and a couple other states and then went away. It didn't really spread throughout the rest of the country, which was very strange. I don't think anybody has a good explanation for what was happening there, but...
Yeah, well, like you said, it's impossible to predict. So, well, we'll let you get going. I know you've got a lot of exams and papers to grade.
A lot of exams to grade, yes.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Great to be here.
Dr. Matthew Badtke on the morning show. We'll be right back after this.